Jayce from Jayce Classic. Nice, thanks for being on the show, man.
No, thanks very much for inviting me, Joe.
Yeah, oh, good. How's the lockdown situation been treating you guys?
Yeah, Joe, I think that, like I say to anyone who asks me that question, April when we went into hard lockdown wasn't a good month. Our traffic dropped by 84%. But like I tell people, it's that 16% more than a lot of other folk got. We kind of like saw a bit of a bounce back to normal levels for the period. And then June was our best month we've ever had since opening. And then July, where we are now, I think we've topped our best month ever by about 40% already. So, yeah, no. So I'm just quite honest about it. I'm just very grateful to God that we are where we are, and just want to thank our clients that have supported. And I think the big thing is that we're able to, despite what's going on with COVID, work well with our suppliers, work well with our shipping team and freight forwarders and get stuff in. There are challenges, but that's what we're doing.
That's actually brilliant. I mean, but you guys have one advantage above every other, basically, actually almost every other shop in the country. You guys are fully online. You're not like because most of the other shops you have to phone in, speak to the guys, make orders and stuff. You guys took the decision to go online immediately, and you guys have a massive website. Do you think that's made a big impact on your side, or made a big difference on your side?
Joe, if you had a look at it from how online stores should be behaving and the kind of conversion rates you should be, we trail behind the pack in terms of actual orders that are online by an individual, where the person totally goes through the process on their own. If you actually consider the orders that are placed via us for clients on our system, then we're well above the average for an online store. And I think what it comes down to is that, our online store creates a great platform in which people can see products, but you can't get away from the fact that people still want to have a personal interaction with someone. And for me, that's the slight difference with our online store than with many others out there, is that we still offer that, I believe, a personal connection, that you can actually pick up the phone, ask me a question. If you're a little bit uncomfortable about the whole online purchasing process, we're quite happy to say, okay, no, that's fine. We'll actually build up the cart for you in the background, send it to you, and actually just make the whole purchasing experience a lot easier for a client too. When you're working through about 130,000 products on an online web store, it can be a bit daunting to know where to look, what to find, how to find it, is it the right part? So you still need that sales support for people to make a purchase. And I think that South Africa is still very new on online retail, and I think a lot of people need to become more comfortable with it. I think if you look at our demographics in terms of the type of client that we deal with and the age grouping, the bulk of the people that will interact are pretty much your and my age. So we won't give that away too much, but we're probably still sub 50. So some of those guys still want to, talk to someone and purchase something and have that personal interaction. So, yeah, so in a way, our online website is like a massive, what I call like a pamphlet drop. Like in the old days when you did marketing, you just like chuck out thousands and thousands of pamphlets. So in a way, it's a bit like that still. It does create that online presence. And what it also enables us to do is that when we're working with new suppliers, they're comfortable with us because we are of a certain size and magnitude already.
There's a few points on that one. First, what I liked about your site when I had my shop is the fact that you can sit, your days are crazy, trying to get stuff done and, you know, trying to get stuff built, you can sit at night and you can go through and you can place that order and you can sit and go through the parts. That's the thing that the online site really, or the online profile really worked for me, is, you know, you can really sit and take your time and, you know, set up each client, and you make your list and go through it and just click your parts, and you can place the orders and stuff with you. And, you know, by the time you go to bed that all that stuff was done, you know, you've done all your processing and everything. That to any shop out there, that is a key thing. I mean, that's such a time saver as well. The other bonus that I found on it is you sit and you think of certain parts, and as you're going through the site, I mean, like you said, you've got so many parts and stuff on there. You can sit and go, oh, especially when it came to, I remember with body panels, pieces and stuff, you can sit and go, oh God, they actually make one of those. Yeah, I can buy that. I know that I had the problem, but I didn't know that that was being manufactured. So it becomes an educational thing at the same time, because now you can see what's actually out there, what is available for your car. I think it's crucial for anyone, if you're in the market now and you want to go buy a new project, and before you decide to do the old overhauling chip foos thing of putting in the garage and stripping it completely down bare, is go onto a site like yours and go order, or go select and make a wish list of all those parts that you want to buy, that you're going to need to buy, that you want to replace, because that will give you a better indication on your project of where you go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Right, Joe. You know, I've got, funny enough, it's one client of mine who's very good at going through the whole online process. And because, you know, with modern day technology and cookies and various things, and we get to see what's going on in the background, you know, we know who's on our website at any given time. And we've got this one client, he spends days and days on it. And we just know, and an order's coming because this particular client has done his research, and we can see it happening. And it's exactly points that you talk about, you know, he's on it from maybe like 5 o'clock in the evening until, you know, 7 o'clock night. He's gone through a couple of things. You can see he's added stuff to his wish list, taken stuff off. Maybe it wasn't in his budget, you know, or maybe get that kind of story. And yeah, you do get a better sense. And I think of what your total build can cost you. And I think that's an advantage definitely of an online store, because I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake in their restorations, is that they don't know what they don't know, unfortunately, in terms of the build, what the build's going to be requiring. And you know, you only get a sense of that when you start like adding all the pieces together, and then you see, oh wow, okay, you know, this is not a 50K build, but you know, this could be like 200K build, just depending on what I'm wanting. So I think it does help people plan their builds better. I think what it also does, it helps budget better. And, you know, I think that there's an old saying, you know, you've got champagne taste, but beer money. And it kind of like helps, you know, align people's dreams of where they want it, the reality, what they wanted to them. And saying, well, this is the best thing. And so the other advantage is that, you know, you've got various options in terms of suppliers, from, you know, high-end suppliers like Flaming River on steering columns, to a more cost-oriented supplier on steering columns like Racing Package, you know, RPC. So those decisions you can make too, you know, in terms of where you want to go.
Exactly. Like I said, you're able to actually take two different brands, put them up against each other, and look at the pricing differences and stuff at the same time. With the South African market, but look, I know, I mean, we saw it now during COVID with the magazine. South Africa is slow taking up getting to the online thing. I mean, they're just not warming up to it as fast. And I don't know why that is, if they're scared that, you know, online buying and stuff, if there's going to be issues, or where they're sending their money, or they're never going to receive their parts and stuff. But I mean, we saw it with the magazine, where we tried to push things more online. And even though online we knew we're reaching 10 times more people online than we do with a printed magazine, the guys still
Yes.
wanted the guys still want the print, the print form of it. And as much as, like I said, you try and educate the market on that, and I mean, we've done a lot of stuff together where we're trying to push people through to the sites and stuff. It's very hard in South Africa to try and move it. Do you think though that COVID, have you guys seen more guys jump towards that now during COVID? Because it has seemed like a lot of guys have, it's like they were forced into the online thing, Zoom, all this type of stuff for business, everything. Do you think that that's made a difference on your side as well, or has it made a difference on your side?
Joe, I think that what it's is, I think it's made people probably aware of that there is this online existence. When online becomes a more general thing in your life, then it's easier to adopt it, just in the main. I think also, I think it's a combination of factors. You're talking about slow adoption of online platforms, and people worried about their money going. I think particularly in South Africa's motor industry and the hot rod industry, there are tons of stories of guys being taken. And this online store, whether you're a shop, traditional brick and mortar shop, it comes down to what I call a buyer's trust. Whether I'm doing it through an online platform or over the counter, I've got to be delivering on the promise I make to the client. The client sees an item, sees a price, we make a commitment, a promise to deliver within X days. And the only way you get repeat business is by engendering buyer's trust and just delivering on what you say you're going to do. And it's as simple as that. Whether you're online or, like I said, brick and mortar, the principles, the basic principles of good business still apply. And there isn't anything. You can have a great online platform, crappy at customer delivery, it's not going to. And so and I think that's why we still offer that option, that if there's an issue, a person can phone me. I'm easy to get hold of. I don't sit behind a call desk. I don't sit behind 3 layers of people. Within one phone call or two, you've actually reached me, and my colleagues. So I think that's an important thing too, because I think that online platforms can also sometimes come across as a little bit impersonal. And so we just focus really on, Joe, just delivering on what we say we're going to do. I will acknowledge we don't always get it right. We have odd mistake, but I think in the main, over the 5 years of doing this now, I think if we've done 4 refunds in that entire period, it's been a lot.
No, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, and that's for a variety of reasons. And I think now where we sit is that COVID-19 has made it different, but the same commitments still remain. We promised, we said we're going to get the part for you in the timeframes that we can, within what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, look, I've had with communication. Funny enough, the biggest fight I've been having over the last 3 weeks was PayPal. I had a problem with logging in with PayPal, and because of COVID, you just could not get hold of anyone. Absolutely no communication. You can't phone. I mean, trying to phone in from South Africa, it was just absolutely hectic. I actually found someone on LinkedIn who worked for PayPal, befriended them, told them I have an issue, and that's how I got it resolved. And then complained to him and say that people are complaining about there's no communication. And then yesterday, funny enough, they just started communicating with everyone. So I think they picked up that they had to start moving forward. But now, you guys, you've got the parts section. Okay, which you guys are brilliant at, but you've now added more layers to to your shop and stuff? I mean, you guys are buying, selling, you're building, you're doing, what have you guys all added onto that side?
Yeah, so I think, Joe, what it comes down to is that, I think that a couple of things. We started off with Jayce's Classic Spares as being the main derivative of what we're doing. From that, we've spun off 2 other online stores. Jayce's Rocky Road, which is road focused on the 4x4, although that we've already kind of like put on hold just because of COVID-19 and the fact that in South Africa, the tourism industry has taken a massive knock, and people to get out as much as they can. So we'll wait for things to turn around before we relaunch that online store. But what we have also done is that we created Jayce's Racing Stuff, which is very specific and focuses on racing related products. So, we saw that there was a need for that, because I haven't really crossed anything else much on the racing scene. So we're looking, and that's a very new website too that we've been running with that. And then, the other layers that we added on was primarily Jayce's Resto Garage. And the reason why we did that is that I got to the point where had a lot of guys clients phone us asking for parts, asking me to maybe, is there something we can do in the price? And through that discussion, discovering that, there's been a botched restoration, or worse, I actually had the sheriff court involved to actually get his from the panel B to that closed, and parts missing, and all of this, and man, I've heard that story more than the fingers on my hand. And so I decided to say, well, let's start Jayce's Resto Garage, where take the approach that I kind of like behave like an architect, where I help you visualize the dream that you've got for what you want, and then partners, much like it would be a construction build to build the house, an interior designer to do the the inside of the car, applying that kind of logic into the space, but also I suppose administering it in a different way. We've heard both sides of the story, where builders get burnt by clients get burnt by builders, and managing it through basically effectively a trust, which is held by a lawyer. So the builder knows there's money committed to the build. The client knows that the builder can't draw down on the money, and without having certain milestones in place. So that's a process, and that's kind of one leg that we've started off with, and it's still very new. And yeah, so we're seeing that there's a need. I believe there's a need for that. And then the other thing is that where we've gone with it too is that because of our spread in the market and the amount of people we know, people asked, Jayce, do you know of a 64, 65 Mustang in mint condition going for sale? Or another guy will crop up and say, sheesh, I've got a 67 Camaro that I want to offload. And so we're just creating that space whereby through our network, we can connect buyers with sellers.
But it makes sense. It makes sense. It's like a more of a natural progression from everything that you guys are doing. It's just looking at how you can supply that extra services through to your clients more than anything. It really does make sense. On the 4x4 side, I've been talking to a bunch of guys, obviously in the US, and the Chevy Blaze. Okay, I mean, obviously the new Ford Bronco was just launched. I don't know if you saw that. It's really cool. But the Bronco Blazer market, and then on the truck market, that's all changing, and that's becoming very hot at the moment. But not the 20-inch drop to the ground air ride truck. I mean, big suspension, big wheel, big lift kits, upgrade everything, almost like a rock crawler trapper look and feel. I know a lot of big shops in the US. Apparently that is like the main builds that's coming into SEMA and stuff this year. Is all this big 4x4 stuff that's coming in now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was all kind of like followed by the Ford Raptor. I think that kind of like sparked the whole thing. And we're seeing it with the local manufacturers, you know, not respect to them, but, you know, everyone's throwing stickers on their bakkie and trying to create, you know, bulges on the hoods and, you know, just making it look more masculine. You know, I think that's the best, you know. And then you get guys go for the full Armageddon look on their vehicles, you know. And so, yeah, you know, it is a big market. I think that the challenge online kind of platform, you know, bearing in mind most of my suppliers are based in the US, the model crossover is very limited. So I can see some uptake now going forward just because I think we're sharing the same platform on the Ford, the new Ford that's Ford backing.
Yeah, Ford Rangers. But the Ranger, they've got
Rangers, yes.
they got the Ranger in the US, but I think it's still a little bit bigger than the Ranger we've got here. And I had a chat to, because you know that, I mean, Ford launched the Ranger in the US, and then launched the Roush Ranger there as well. And I met Jack Roush Jr. when he was here, because that was all developed right in South Africa. That whole Roush setup, everything for the Ranger. But I do think it's bigger on that side. I don't know why.
No, it's a massive market. You know, I think, you know, trucks are a big part of the American culture too. You know, and you know, I think we kind of like inherited that with the love of our bakkies. You know, when you got, you know, C10s and Ford F Series, and, you know, those are the bakkies you bought, you know, in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. You know, and then you had the Toyotas. And so, you know, I think that the equivalent, you know, our equivalent of those vehicles is the Toyota Hilux, you know, to be quite honest. And still remains.
They said now that the Land Rover Discoveries are picking up. As it is the Discovery, that's the big off-road one. I always get confused between this Defender. Yes, I do it, Defender. Yeah. The Defenders, the original Jeep Cherokees, the box-shaped ones. Apparently they are selling like hotcakes at the moment. I mean, I know you couldn't give those things away a few years ago. They were so heavy on fuel. But Daniel, my camera guy, actually, he's got one that's got I think the 2-liter Ranger motor in it. Very nice. But that style is picking up. Like I think shows like Diesel Brothers also made a difference. Excuse me. Just like I said, getting that 4x4 that I want to say redneck feel going, which everybody seems to love. I know I love it. If I could have a caravan with a one-legged flamingo in the front yard, I would. Yeah. the racing part section, I mean, once again, that makes sense. I mean, that's just a step off, or like more of a side step from the muscle car industry more than anything. It's just bigger performance. Are you guys now doing, is that like bigger braking systems, different suspension system upgrades, 4-link, all that type of stuff?
Yeah, it's exactly that. And it's, you know, the two things that we space is definitely, you know, all the rear end stuff, you know, the 4 links, the triangulated 4 links, it's coil setups, it's stripped down like wiring systems, you know, all of that kind of steering linkages, you know, universal joints, so rose joints, all of those things that you start needing to use in your race car fabrication. We've seen some real interest in, you know, not so much on the braking side, definitely the suspension chassis component side, you know, that's where a lot of interest. And then I think also, but you know, what it does, and the reason why we've done that too, is that, you know, when you've got 135,000 products on your website, not everything's applicable to the same audience. And, you know, that's why we started also segmenting. So it's really customer segmentation that we've done, and saying, well, you know, if these are racing guys, these are going to be the racing kind of products that they're looking for. You know, that's looking at a 69 Camaro as a historic racing car is not going to worry about whether it's got the original fog lights lenses on it, you know, but he wants to make sure it goes around a corner well. Really reorganizing, you know, our offering, you know, to meet those customer requirements.
Exactly. The thing that, I mean, you and I have come a long way with pushing product and that type of stuff through the magazine. And the thing that I've always loved about working with you guys is you guys don't always push the normal product. You don't look for, you got a lot of shops that are pushing exactly the same thing. You always go and try and find someone different, a competitor, a new guy in the market, and that type of stuff. How's that process? How do you normally find these guys? And how hard is it from South Africa to actually for you? Because I know how hard it is to try and get hold of the big guys in the US. Okay. It's a wing and a prayer to try and get to the right person and the amount of people you need to go through before you get there. How hard has it been from your side building that up?
Well, Joe, I think that firstly, the process I go through is that I think anyone that's car game or likes classic cars is a bit quirky, a little bit offbeat. They want to be a little bit different from the crowd. And that's inherently kind of like my makeup too, so when I look for a new supplier, it's like, I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to look for something else. And that's kind of like how we came across one of our biggest wheel suppliers, Riddler Group, because I'm looking at how many American racing torque thrust wheels were out there at car shows. I'm saying, man, every car's got one. Look, classic design, I get it, but man, when you've got 50 cars and you're in 47 same wheel on, it's like, nah, it needs to change. So it's driven by, I'm just looking for something different, what else is there which people can see? And the amazing thing is that what I discovered is we don't know here in South Africa what's available overseas or who's produced what. And chatting to some of them guys, that market is so big, they don't even know what some other guys are doing. Yeah. So sometimes you can realize of guys, doing stuff, and it's just really, really, really great. And I think, in terms of, on what we call onboarding suppliers, what's really helped us is that, we have this mass of, in terms of who we're already working with, what we're already selling, where we are in terms of, and so it makes it easier to bring suppliers on because we have that presence. Starting off with easy. I mean, it's taken us 5 years to get to this point. You started off with a couple of guys and you use those guys as referrals to hook you up to the next guy. And so you just keep expanding like that. But the biggest thing I think that what I've always done is I've tried to find a quality product at a good price. And I really don't like being the guy that's trying to sell you the cheapest thing.
No.
I just don't like it. And it relates to a personal story. When I was studying Stellenbosch, I was a student and I was on my ace, 150 Rand to go and buy myself a set of pots, to cook in. So I walked into the local Checkers there, got to the pot section, and I saw this Hart's aluminium pot set, 8-piece pot set for 150 bucks, and I did a 2 warranty. Okay, that's not too bad. And above it, there was this aloe pot, a single casserole pot for 150 bucks. And I looked at it and geez, this is a nice pot. And it comes with a 20-year warranty. That pot. And it's been more than 20 years and I still use the pot in the house. And
that is the best analogy I've ever heard.
And that's kind of like how I approach, the kind of products we bring in, I've actually already, I've let go of suppliers if we're dealing too much with returns outside. It actually just costs us more than anything else.
If you guys are getting returns on a product the whole time, that's unfortunately you're the contact person, which means it's not the manufacturer's fault; it's your fault. You're the guys that's getting the flack from that. So it makes sense if you keep getting problems with the product to start and move on. But what I found with the how can I put it? The new guys on the block, normally their pricing section is very good, their technology is very good, and they try much harder because they're still trying to make a name for themselves in the market. Am I correct?
Yeah. I think you do that. I think that also, newer competitors in the market are definitely more open to working with online companies. They are trying to get their market out there. I've just seen it in our own business where we've tried to engage with like very well established American businesses, and you can kind of see how the mentality comes through where they're saying, oh yeah, you know what, we're needing to actually we support our existing brick and mortar kind of clients, and you've got to have a brick and mortar store to buy into us. And you're like, so, but why? So, and you can just see that some of the, so there's like old school. I remember when I met with the president of RestoModSA. He was over here in South Africa, and we were supplying his products here, and we had a bit of it. And he was saying to me, in the US, 70% of the retail's done is online.
With the guys from RestoModSA being here. When I did the interview with Wade Kawasaki from Coca Tires, he sent me I sent him a message, and we set up the meeting, and he went, "Okay, meneer, I'll speak to you later." And I'm like, "Meneer?" And I don't think that was actually, I didn't have that in this part in the interview. He's been in South Africa a lot. Telling me how he was in Cape Town, Blouberg beaches. He's one of his favorite beaches he's ever been to in the world. It's weird when you get these products and the guys start talking to you about South Africa, how you completely gobsmacked, where you're like, really, you know we exist, we are a country, and it's getting to a point where it's like the other way more than anything. We're more amazed that they now know that we are actually out there. They are then knowing that we're out there more than anything else.
Yes.
New brands and stuff are coming in. What new stuff have you guys got lined up now? Who you guys been talking to? What can we wait for? What are we going to see? It's like Christmas talking to you.
No, that's great, man. I think one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, when you're running with an online store, you're selling pictures, you're selling, product descriptions, because you've got to be able to help your client make an informed buying decision by what he's just seeing and reading. You can't always have a over the phone call discussion with him about something. And so what I'm really excited about is that we're currently dealing for a company by the name Automotive. Top Flight Automotive is part of the Extra Miles group in America. But what's really nice about these guys is that they are they're collection companies under Mustang America. Mustang America, Corvette America. No, sorry, let me get this right. It's Mr. Mustang, Corvette America, Mustang America, Classic Dashes, Onyx car covers, and a whole range of guys. And what's really, really encouraging about working with them is that they're busy preparing their entire catalog now that we can fit that onto our website. So,
oh wow!
I'm going to, in the next couple of weeks, hopefully in less than 8 weeks' time, we'll be able to introduce their entire catalog onto our online store. And there we're talking about complete offerings for any Mustang, any Corvette, and really, really how that unfolds. Yeah.
That is absolutely insane. You're changing the way that the guys are doing business in South Africa. That's why I've always said I love working with you guys. You're looking at the way forward, and you guys are seeing what you're finding the right brands, and you're building up, and you guys are coming through, and you're putting good quality products. But you guys are also getting. You guys are getting the companies in the US helping to push things from this side. And that's also another thing that I liked about it. I mean, with us working together, we can run the articles and we can talk about the products. Because the problem that I think a lot of guys are facing, or what the products are facing, is if you've got a lot of guys selling the same part, or a lot of guys, and you've got thousands of parts and stuff out there, it's very hard to get that individual part or that individual brand boosted because there's just so much. I understood this working with part shops and stuff in South Africa. It's just there's too many brands, there's too many products. You can't just focus on one thing, and you have to deal with your supplier where you can't just be pushing one supplier at the same time, the whole time. You need to expand everything out. So yeah, but we're supposed to be we're coming through to you guys. Well, as soon as I think once we hit level 2, we're coming through to you because we're going to be doing rod shop with you guys. So
yeah, that's right.
Are you gonna like shave and put some aftershave on for us on that day as well?
Well, I already did it today. I might trim my hair a bit, but I am going for that like middle-aged rocker look, so I might grow a bit of. No, we'll see.
As long as you don't go for the goatee and mullet look, then we'll be fine. But then again, hey, maybe that's even coming back. You never know. Everything from the 80s is becoming cool. Yeah.
No, please don't say that. Clothing was a disaster.
Listen, I mean, guys are looking for fox bodies at the moment. Once the fox body became cool, dude. Now it's going to be disco Camaros, and then there's fur on dashes, fluffy dice. It's all a lot of allure and suede. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and late 70s and early 80s panel vans.
Yes. Oh, man, I was watching the thing on Discovery the other day. They had Hasselhoff, but the fastest car, and they had Kit against one of the chip bikes against the 18 van. And find out that 18 van had the most horsepower out of all of them. There was like something like 300 or 400 horses in the 18 van, the GMC, compared to what Kit's Pontiac, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, Kit won. But I was looking at that 18 van. I'm like, that thing is sweet. I know there's a project. Say.
The reason why that one because it was carrying Mr. T.
Exactly. But I know someone's busy with a project where they're remaking one in South Africa. I know my friend Nelson, they're busy, they're cutting the wheels especially for it. It's got like a one-off set of wheels, so they make an exact replica of the 18 van. And I'll find out more about it. I'll let you guys know. Thank you so much for talking to me today, man.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Joe. It's always great working with you and enjoying these podcasts. And just hope that will be something that grows for you guys too, especially in times of COVID. One has to adapt and change, and you don't, you die. So
exactly.
All the best for you and for the Hot Rod magazine too. It's a staple diet of almost every hot rod in South Africa, that magazine. And long may it continue in print form too, because some hot rodders they're old school and still want to hold in their hands and page to the book.
We launched it. We put it out today, 10th of August. Magazine will be done. We're busy wrapping it up, which reminds me, you still owe me some info so we can get your stuff going out as well. The podcast thing has just been great. I mean, last night, the episode that came out last night, I was talking to Mike and them from Woolwood. It's great. I know you and I have been talking about getting some of your brand guys on as well. It gives a great perspective of a brand. It's amazing to hear the backstory and the guys from a brand telling you exactly how it is. Like you said, there's so much we don't know. What is going on, who's doing what type of development and stuff is going into what is it. That's what I'm loving more. I've learned so much actually over the last few months of doing the podcast. In general, just on how the industry works, how people work, how everyone is connected. I mean, it is insane how guys actually, who you talk to knows where in the world. It's like I said, it's mind-boggling, but it's very interesting and it's working well for us. Thank you so much. So you have a great day, and I'll speak to you a little bit later again. All right.
Cool. All right, Joe. You too, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Cheers. Bye.